What's going on, DJ Nation? Kenny Kim here, bringing you another Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast this week for the Scottish Open. As usual, I am here with everybody's favorite South African, Byron Lindeque. Byron, what is up, my friend?
Kenny, too much. I'm not going to try and answer it all in my quick answer here, but I'm sunburned and I am happy today.
All right. Well, of course, our podcast is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Mayo. Get yourself a deposit match up to $250. So, this past week, the John Deere Classic, community win, except for me, did not have Davis Thompson, didn't even have him in cash. Luckily, the other my four cash game cornerstones still made the cut, still was a winning week. I know you had a great time. Let's go ahead and hear it. I know you were there all 4 days. Let's talk about what you saw and what you witnessed over near Chicago this week.
Yeah, it's Silverstone, Illinois, which is like 3 hours from my house. Drove out there for Thursday morning. Had a blast, Kenny. The weather was perfect for the majority of the time, and had some nice people spoil me to some really behind-the-scenes things. I saw some, of the TV trucks and the CBS side of things there, and that is like a ADD hub central, dude. It's just like, you cannot show up to that job hungover, because it is, you have to be so on point, like every 20 seconds something's like happening, man. It's incredible. So that was fun to see. And then just walking with these guys, like as someone who's pretty decent at golf, I still feel like I'm hitting my ball too high. These guys hit their wedges. You don't see it on TV, but man, it's like this piercing ball flight, which I really noticed was like exceptionally normal throughout most people's shots. So I'm going to start trying to practice hitting my wedges like lower. Usually you try and think, okay, hit a wedge high. No, hit it lower. These guys control the ball so well when they do that. Jake Knapp's swing is as syrupy molasses as you could ever imagine in person. I mean, that was fun to watch, along with his girlfriend or whatever, walking along with him. Then kind of just watching Davis, man. He was always like the first down the fairway. He was walking the same pace all the time. Nothing kind of rattled him. It was just so much fun to watch him. And like, he got up and down from places that were like ridiculous. On that 14th hole in particular, when he dropped it and just nailed it dead stiff, hit the drives nice. It was just an overall good time. I had a blast out there, and it's the John Deere Classic, but people at the event enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, I mean, Davis Thompson going out there gaining something like 30 strokes tee to green in his last 3 events played is disgusting. Everyone saw it coming, except me. Now, the other big story is these 2 young boys, right? Thorbjornsen and Luke Glenn. I made a little bit of fun of Luke Glenn, but I mean, man, he looks like he's the real fucking deal, right? 2 weeks doing this thing. 2 top 10s. Thorbjornsen playing for the last month, every week getting slightly better. This PGA Tour youth thing is working pretty fucking well. Refilling this well over and over and over again. I was really impressed by their play, and they're 1-2 on the betting board on the ISCO Championship this week. An amateur, number 1 on the betting board, I think 14-1.
And then the number 2 being an amateur like a month ago. Like insane, dude.
Yeah,
insane.
pretty crazy stuff. And then you have Ben Griffin out there playing blind, shooting 61s and shit like that, where he just had eye surgery, and he's out there wearing sunglasses because he has to, and he's seeing all these little things in his eyes whenever he blinks. Yeah, whenever he blinks, he's out there just birdie after birdie after birdie. Pretty impressive stuff. We get through these 2 weeks, sort of a doldrums, and now we're getting some good shit. Now we're getting with really good field this week at the Open Championship. We got the end of the year coming, and then we got the FedEx Cup playoffs, plus the Olympics in between. So this last little stretch, this last little month and a half, should be a lot of fun, should be a lot of good golf. Should get everyone back into it after, 2 weeks of just whatever. Luckily, I did not do as poorly as I did the week before, but GPPs weren't great at all. The cash lineup definitely saved me. Novak got picked finishing top 10. He actually split. He actually got chopped with the each way. So that's my 23rd each way of the year. To go along with 5 outrights. Really wish I had the Davis Thompson ticket. I thought about him, didn't do it, which makes me a little bit angry. But we move on. How did you do last week? I know you had some winning bets.
Oh, baby. Yeah. Every bet I pretty much placed cashed, except for the two two guys that I bet top 5 and top 10 and plus 650 and plus 800. So the Bubble Us bets, those 3 guys came through for the first time on the show at 8.5 to 1. So that was good to see there. Zach Johnson and Seamus Power and Aaron Rye. I mean, Aaron Rye is becoming a top 40 juggernaut now. So that was awesome. And yeah, my Breaking 100 article returned like $96. So you bet your 100 and to make your 96 back is awesome. So we were pretty close on round 1 as well. We had fucking Davis finished 4th or 5th after round 1, and the guy that was in his 3-ball finished 4th or 3rd. Like, I can't remember the exact number, but he played so well and still got beat, by that. So that would have cashed that $5 bet as well, which would have been really, really nice. But I ain't complaining after last week, buddy. So
yeah, I'll take a winning DFS week, and I'll take some of my money back. Winning underdog week. Whenever I don't post online, I win. So it's weird. So I hit that underdog.
Send it to me, and I'll just like filter it through the Fantasy Golf Degenerates Twitter.
Yeah, maybe that might be the way to go. I have to find a way around it for it. Big story in golf came out today. Looks like Mr. Keegan Bradley is going to be the new Ryder Cup captain at Bethpage in 2025. Tiger didn't take the job, which I can understand it. I mean, if you think about Tiger, Bethpage at home, he's supposed to win. Like if he loses, which is, possibility, that's the one bad thing can happen. That's one that everything will remember. Like if he wins, everyone's going to be like, well, he should have won, right? It's at home. We get to set the course up. There was no like positives for him legacy wise.
No upside.
When it comes to him being the captain in 2025, I think that's something he thought about. I mean, there's been bad captains. Look at Zach Johnson. I mean, 2-time major winner, guy who's won the Masters and the Open Championship. One of the few golfers who's won both of those events ever. I mean, at least right now, no one talks about that shit, right? I mean, I'm sure after a while, people forget about the Ryder Cup and stuff like that. But at least right now, that's what's on everyone's mind. The funny thing is, the person who picks the new captain is the old captain and the old PGA representatives, Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth, which I found very interesting. I wonder if they really did have a say in it. I don't know. Because, I mean, you would think when it comes to Keegan, you get this new blood, right? It's something that we've all been waiting for. And again, we're supposed to win at home again, so the upside's not really there. So could turn out badly if it goes a certain route. And we don't see this happen again, where we see a guy who maybe not, people don't think should have gotten the captaincy yet, just because of legacy, just because of the way that the captains have been picked. But that's okay. Change is good, right? Especially for, if this works and he gets set up and everything goes well, maybe we could see something different again in 2027, have Keegan running back. Because this guy, this is his Super Bowl, right? He's going to put everything he has, all the focus he has, to make sure this team is good, everything's set up, he's ready to rock. He's got John Wood on his side. He's going to pick his vice captains. Now, of course, the worry you have is, this Ryder Cup stuff takes a lot out of these guys. I mean, it's like a full-time job, basically, for a year and a half to 2 years. Is he going to have enough time to practice golf? I mean, is he an auto fade now for the next year and a half that we only see him on the course? Because he's got so much other shit on his mind. And we've seen this recently. With Cantlay, with Rory, with JT, with Spieth, all these guys who are on the board, it seems like they're taking more time away from golf, doing pressing golf matters with the league than actually going out and playing and practicing. You can see it with their performances. Do I expect the same from Keegan? Sure. Of course I do. But I don't think that matters to him. He's only 39 years old. He's still got plenty of golf left. To take this job at this time shows how much he wants to be involved in this process, which is nothing but a good thing for the Ryder Cup, especially since he's not a part of the popular boys club, right? He's not in with Spieth. He's not in with Zach. He's not in with JT. That's not the crew he runs with. He'll be able to make decisions on his own based on what he thinks is the best for the United States, not what he thinks is best for his friends. And I think that's going to be very, very helpful. I think it's going to work well. And I think, and if he does well this year, I hope he gets to be there in 2027 which I think will be Tiger. Because I think Tiger wants to be a captain on an away team, right? Because you don't, it's not that big of a deal if you lose. You're supposed to lose, right? But if you win, you're a hero. And that legacy just explodes even more, right?
Yeah.
Just to go everything on top of what he's already had. To have a Ryder Cup road win as a captain would be the icing on the cake for Mr. Tiger Woods. And I think that's what he's waiting for. I think we see him in 2027, unless Keegan goes out there and they win by like 10 points, right? If he goes out there, he does all this work, he picks the right people, gets the format, we go out there and whoop that ass. I mean, it's difficult to not bring him back, just like what the Euros did with Luke Donald. Basically, very, very similar.
Kenny, the only difference with Luke Donald is the fact that he's been on these Ryder Cup teams. Dude, Keegan's last appearance on a Ryder Cup was 10 years ago. He hasn't been a vice captain. I don't know how analytically driven he is with his game.
He's got to pick the right assistants.
Yes, absolutely. He needs to pick the assistants that should have been the captains, because this is such an out of left field situation. And anytime I speak about the freaking USA Ryder Cup front office, I want to start shitting myself in the moment, Joe, because
I'm usually like that as well.
It's like,
this is a good change. So you don't think this is good?
No, he wants more to make the team than to captain it. What has he done to deserve this? What has he done to deserve being the captain? This is an addition by subtraction for JT and Spieth. We were part of this decision because both their games are completely sorted right now. We can rely on these guys. Then, now, if Keegan finds himself 11th, 9th in the rankings for the Ryder Cup, what then? I'm going to call my name. And then I'm going to be a playing captain and have, like, I just don't get it. The chronological order here is ass backwards right now. And if he's likely not going to be in the mix anymore because this will probably make him play worse golf. But I've got a big issue with this, man. Like, it's out of left field. Maybe if it works, but we're going to win at home anyway, usually.
I mean, the thing I don't know how big of a Ryder Cup fan you've been throughout your life. I've watched, my first golf memory was the War by the Shore. It was Bernard Langer missing that 6-foot putt for the United States to win at Kiawah Island, and it sort of brought my love for the Ryder Cup there, because I've never been so excited to see a guy miss a putt before, right? And then every year from that. But the thing about it is the way the United States has done it, I mean, the Euros kick our ass every year. I mean, yeah, we get a couple of wins here and there at home, but you know, for the most part, it's been a European dominated for the last 30 years. It's because the PGA of America has just done the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. They just keep running the same ideas, the same people, the same vice captains. There's no adjustments. There's no critical thinking. There's no thinking outside the box. It's always been the same, and that's why we've been getting crushed by the Europeans. Yeah, we went at home here recently. The last two, right? I mean, I think before that we lost 2 out of 3 at home or something like that, right? I mean, this is not
Medina, right?
This is not like an even split between the United States and the Europeans. The Europeans crush us in every facet of the Ryder Cup. From your fit to picking the teams to pairing everyone correctly. They just do everything better, right? And the reason for that, more than likely, is because it's an actual team. There's camaraderie, right? There's somebody, you know, and that begins at the highest level. So for people to bring everyone in, right? And to show that love, to show the camaraderie. You know, we need more people like Keegan Bradley on our Ryder Cup teams, because the way the United States teams have gone since Tiger changed the game for American players, right? It made it so they are standoffish. They don't really talk to opponents. You know what I'm saying? You know, they have little cliques, you know, that they talk to. It's not open arms type deal. Here, come learn from me. I'll make you better. It's not like that. In the European Tour, it is. right? You could see it with Justin Rose mentoring Bobby Mack.
Exactly. I was thinking that the whole time.
There's no type of mentorship when it comes down to it. And the reason for that is we just keep putting the same people over and over and over again in that leadership position where the only way that they've seen this shit go is that way, right? I think it's good that Keegan's only been in one Ryder Cup. I think it's good that he doesn't really know what that entails. Bring new shit to the board, right? Like, that's what you need. I don't want them to keep doing the same thing over and over again. Win at home, we'll lose on the road. Win at home, lose on the road. Lose one at home, lose on the road. Win at home. I don't want that, right? And it doesn't start. It doesn't start. That change doesn't start, 2 years before a certain Ryder Cup. It starts now, and then it has to move on through all future Ryder Cups, because the way the United States does it right now with the Ryder Cup is poor. We should win every fucking year. We should win every fucking year with the talent that we have and how much better we are at golf than those Europeans. Honestly, like when you look at the world golf rankings, we are just better golfers than they are. So something has to change. Something needs to flip. This is perfect. Will it work? I don't know. It might not. It might go into flames and we lose at home. But at least we're trying something new, right? At least there's something there that we're not going back to the old way of thinking when it comes to the Ryder Cup. And I that's why I like the move. And I can understand why you don't, because it doesn't go with what has happened in the past. And fuck the past. Fuck the last 30 years of the Ryder Cup, because we have sucked balls. Like, the United States sucks. Like, we suck at the Ryder Cup. We've lost like 70%, 75% home or away in the last 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Since like 89.
I think that they're just changing it though to change it though. Like
okay, good.
Good.
Why else do you change it?
Who was the last guy to win overseas?
Something needs to be fucking changed. This shit sucks. We suck.
We need the guy that captained the team that won in Europe last. You know what I'm saying? Like, have that be the guy that comes back in and then run that shit back. Because it's like, I don't know. I just think that a lack of experience, it's just like...
I think the lack of experience is a good thing. I think it's perfect. I think that's exactly what the U.S. team needs, because they're just resting on laurels. And if you have the same leaders over and over and over again, they're just going to continue to rest on laurels. And they need to change. And this is perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I'm leaning towards Europe now again. So I will see, but so be it. Maybe it works out for them.
Yeah, I think it's going to work. I think they're going to dominate. I think Keegan's going to do extremely well. I think he might even play. And if he does, good for him, because he deserved to be on that team last year. Now, the big rumor is, his best playing partner on the Ryder Cup was Phil Mickelson, right? So somebody said online, he'll pick Phil as his vice captain, and then he'll play his way onto the team, and a month before the Ryder Cup, resign as captain, play on the team, have Phil lead it in Bethpage.
I just got goosies.
That sounds like that's some shit that could happen, right?
I hope that's what happens.
That does not seem like out of the realm of possibilities, unless the PGA of America is like, fuck that. That would be the only way. What? Like, the PGA of America is under new leadership now too. Their top guy just resigned, right? So it's brand new leadership, brand new thinking. I sort of like it. Fuck the old way of thinking when it comes to the Ryder Cup, because we should dominate. We should dominate like the Europeans have been dominating, because on a skill level basis, the United States players are just better. They're just better. Yeah. And a team, they're not even close. And that's not going to change unless something drastic happens. We'll see if it changes. We'll talk about it more as we get closer to the Ryder Cup. It's still got over a year. But he's, they didn't put him in a really good situation. I will say that, because usually the captain's been picked like 5-6 months ago. You know what I'm saying? And he has a lot more time, and he doesn't have a full tour schedule to go through. So we'll see. It could be too much for him, But I think the way, Keegan thinks and, his demeanor and how much he loves team competition, I think he won't mind if this captaincy affects his play. And I think he has to know that it will. And I think he took that into consideration. And he's like, I want to be a part of this so badly that I'll take that risk. And we'll see how it goes for him. I'm rooting for him. I'm sure all of the United States team, people who root for the United States Ryder Cup is rooting for him. We'll see how it goes when it comes down to it. He's also, Northeast guy at Bethpage, went to school in New York. It should be a good show. And if you see him pick Phil as vice captain, watch out.
Then I'm in.
Watch out.
But
Watch out.
now, I'm out. Yeah.
Well, look, John Wood's going to help a lot, and John Wood has the same type of mind frame that Keegan Bradley has, where he would do anything to just be a part of this team.
Who's John Wood, Kenny?
He is a former caddy, if I'm not mistaken. He has been already put on the team as like a big time consultant for the Ryder Cup team. That was announced like 4 or 5 months ago. I guess when the team captain should have been announced, they announced that my guess is he's the one who's been running the show till they finally gotten Keegan to be captain. And now, they'll work together and do their thing. But John has that same mind frame. Remember, when he was picked for that, this is what he wants to do. He loves the Ryder Cup. This is something that, and there's not enough of that on the United States team. For a lot of the U.S. guys, it seems like it's a burden, right?
Yes.
Like, okay, I got to come out here and play. Oh, they're not going to pay me. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, for a lot of the U.S. guys, it seems like a goddamn burden to come out here. And that's not what you want on the team. And I hope Keegan does the right thing, because you got to remember, like, Euros are picking players that are like not good, and they are going out there and whooping up on the Americans' asses, right? I mean, there's
your favorite guy,
to that,
like,
because they want to be there.
Yeah,
they want to be there. They want to be there. They want to beat these guys. They want to win for their teammates, and that is something that is lost on the United States, and something that I think Keegan can bring to the team. We'll see. We'll see.
I agree with that part, Kenny, for sure.
All right. So let's move on. Before we move on, let's pay some bills. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. I personally like the Pick'em games. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. Can win up to 100 times your money in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a Pick'em entry. Can also make rivals picks, which pits 2 players against each other. Now, the reason I like the Pick'em games is because of these things called scorchers. There's these little chili peppers next to the golfers' names, and if you click on that, it adds to your multiplier, so you can win even more money. Sign up today with promo code Mayo and get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant Pick'em special. Must be 18 or over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www. All right, so for last week, our YouTube winner, and remember, before we go to the winner, go to our YouTube account, pick your winner, and leave your DK handle for the Genesis Scottish Open. If you are the first one to pick the winner in our comments, we will pick you to go against us in a 3-man. You win the 3-man, you get to go against all the winners in a Tournament of Champions or prizes at the Sony Open in 2025. Now, last week, the winner from the week before did not get first place. He got second. I got last.
I had a 6 for 6.
Big old Byron beat me by 300 points in that lineup. So the guy who won last week did not get in. But the guy who won this week was Mr. Brian England, 6885 on YouTube. Also his DK name, B England 85. He picked Davis Thompson for the win, so make sure you check your notifications. I'll be sending you an invite probably tomorrow to go against Byron and I in a 3-man. All right, so this is normally our time for our YouTube segment, but of course, PGA numbers are not up. It's 6:15, so I don't know. Hopefully they start getting in here a little bit early. I'm a little worried as we get closer to football season, they get later, but we shall see. Now, Byron, did you think? I know it's tough because there's not many stats for this course. I don't even know if there's shot link stats. There might be. Now, were you able to find something that we could use at Underdog to try and figure out what would be the best way to go about this?
I think looking from 2 years ago, the 2022 season, if they're using like the data that's been over the last 2 years, because it's only played year for 2 on the PGA, if that's in there, it's going to be skewed a bit to more difficult conditions, which I think if we're looking at this year coming up, we can expect similar stuff to what we saw for the first 3 rounds prior to that Sunday getting blown away, right? So I think go take a peek at last year's first 3 rounds, see what those scores look like there, and then maybe I'll post something on X about, just a nice summary of what I'm talking about now, and just kind of finding the unders or lowers for scores and highers for birdies, because I think conditions are going to be very scoreable for those, at least when the weather's going to be calm, because links courses are defended mostly by wind, so without that wind, and I think there's going to be some rain as well around there, so it's going to be nice and soft and easy, so we'll kind of lean into those more aggressive, scoreable conditions than the other way around.
Sounds good. We'll go ahead and post that on X. I'm probably have Byron post mine on the Fantasy Golf Degenerates Twitter feed, because every time I post anything online nowadays, it loses. Anytime I don't post it on my Twitter feed, it wins. So we're going to see if we can finagle this way.
We're going to go full Keegan Bradley with it.
Yeah, we're going to try and go around it, and I will post it on Fantasy Golf Degenerates Twitter page later this week, probably Wednesday afternoon. Because there is an early start. If I remember, I think lock is probably 11 o'clock on Wednesday night, or maybe 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
on Wednesday night.
Do not wait till Wednesday morning. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yep. All right, so let's move on to our betting segment. You had the big week last week, Byron. Why don't you go ahead and get us started?
Cool. Got 3 outrights right now. Going to be waiting on some weather, and tee times to kind of pick the next bunch, because these are all numbers that I really enjoyed. So I got a Tom Kim at 30, Ryan Harmon at 55, and Benny On at 70. I think these guys are just really, really impressive, and they've all played really nicely at this venue, and they're all 30-1, and worse. So I think the Benny On one is actually a 3-way each way placement market there at Bet365. I think that's where I got that really nice 70 on him there. But playing great at this venue, all 3 of these dudes, and Tom Kim in particular, I'm very, very bullish. He's been striking the ball incredibly well, been playing some good golf, finally got to chill out for a little bit, and missed the John Deere, thanks after 9 consecutive starts there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can get up to. And then once the weather rolls through, and once we see some tee times, I'll kind of pounce on a few other guys.
I got 5 bets. I got Xander, 9-1, win only. I'm going to go ahead and take him.
Yep.
Guy's just been playing outside of Scotty. He's been the best golfer in the world. So I'll go ahead and take him on a course that he's won in the past. I also do like Min Woo at 25-1. I thought about Tom, and I thought about Min Woo. I had a really hard time picking each one in cash. I had a really hard time picking about each one in the betting card. I'm going to go with Min Woo just because I like the length off the tee. I like his putting prowess. I think in this type of situation that we're going to see this week, where it's going to be softer, the course is going to play a little bit longer, and we're going to go see. I want the guy, and the thing is, the rough penalty here is like 43rd out of 44 courses the last couple of years. There's like no penalty for hitting in the rough. Like, you just got to fucking pound it the fuck out there and avoid pot bunkers. You do that, you're fine on your approach. And Woo could do that. One of the longest guys out there. Hopefully his approach game is the worst part of his game, but it's been getting better. And since he's going to be so close to the greens, I'm hoping that it helps him out, where him using wedge, 9-iron the whole time approaching. So I'm going to go Min Woo 25-1. Next, it's going to be Thomas Detry at 70-1. Oh, and Min Woo's 8 places. Detry, another former winner here. He can putt his ass off and he can hit the ball far. Just go ahead and use him. 70 to 1, 8 places. I like Højgaard, another long guy off the team.
Which one?
Nicholas. Yes. 75 to 1, 8 places. And I got one long shot, Nakajima, been playing really good over across the pond. Bunch of top 10s, bunch of top 5s over in Europe. I think he's a top 50 player in the world right now, if I'm not mistaken. And I got him at 100 to 1 with 8 places. I thought about Ben on a lot. I do like Ben a lot this week too. I just couldn't really afford to go any more bets with the Xander bet up top. All right, so we got some more bets for us.
Yep, as always, we cashed our first top 40 parlay last week. Let's keep riding. I was very tempted to wear the same hoodie, but didn't want people to judge me. So kind of going with a different route this week. I think we pretty much had everyone at plus money last week, but we'll go with 4 guys this time round. So it's Seabears, Christian Bezuidenhout at minus 110, Robert McIntyre, minus 120, Aaron Rai, minus 125, and then Tom Kim just has like a little anchor there at minus 180 to get us to plus 880. So $10 can make you $98, get you $10 back included in there, and have a banger. We're riding hard now, baby, and I'm looking forward to, I know it's not in the heart of Iowa and Illinois, but you're going to ride this momentum, Kenster.
Ride the Mo. Let's
ride the Mo.
Week in and week out, ride the Mo. All right, so let's get to this week. The PGA Tour, in conjunction with the DP World Tour and across the pond for the Scottish Open, played from the Renaissance Club. This event has been played at the Renaissance Club the last 5 years, but this is the 3rd time it has been co-sanctioned by the PGA and DP World Tours. In the 5 previous iterations of this event, scoring has been weather dependent. Wiesberger and Minwoo won here in good conditions with a score of minus 22 and minus 18 respectively. Aaron Rai defeated Fleetwood in a playoff here during windy and cold conditions with a score of minus 11. Xander won at minus 7 after a windswept weekend last year. Rory won at minus 15, but not without like 40-mile-per-hour winds on Sunday. As with many links-type courses, the weather is the main defense of the course, and it doesn't look horrible this week. It is Monday, so take it with a grain of salt because, these weather forecasts, you think weather forecasts in America is bad. Like, I can't imagine what it is in the British Isles, right? You never really know. But from what they say, rain 2 or 3 days, 15-mile-per-hour gusts throughout the week doesn't look bad. That's why I think, you are correct. I think we're going to see some high scoring. And I think that's something that you can take advantage of on Underdog, like we talked about. I like that train of thought. Hopefully they go with what they've seen the last couple of years, where it's been somewhat more difficult. I do expect a lot of birdies to come. Now, the issue, of course, with this is the wind, but it doesn't look that windy. The putting is difficult here, but putting is usually difficult because the greens are exposed. They're elevated and exposed. And so you have to putt in the wind. Without the wind, putting should be easier, So I think it's going to be playing. I think we're going to see somewhere mid to high teens, maybe even 20 under, win this event. Now, when it comes to comp courses for PGA Tour players, you should look at, past Open Championships, RSM Classic, Honda Classic. They're both seaside courses where wind can be a large factor. For the Euros, looking at the past 4 years here, past 5 years, along with the Open Championship and other events played in Great Britain, Ireland, and Scotland. If you're looking for a correlation event that contains both PGA and Euros on a linked-style course, take a peek at the 2022 Saudi International event at Royal Greens. That had a DP and a bunch of PGA players playing that event together. Links each type, of course, similar-esque type of field. So that's something you can look back on. Now, the Renaissance Club is a 7,300-yard link-style par 70, 10 par 4s, 5 par 3s, 3 par 5s. You heard that right. 5 par 3s, 3 par 5s. The 3 par 5s, the drivable par 4 fifth, and the 2 short par 3s are the easiest 6 holes on the course, all playing under par. Golfers need to take advantage of these holes throughout the week to be in contention. More than half the par 4s range from 450 to 500 yards, and these holes will be difficult. The par 4 18th hole was actually the hardest hole on tour a couple of years ago, playing nearly 0.7 strokes over par. If you have a golfer at or near the cut line on Friday heading into 18, be worried. This is not a true links course, as only 4 holes play alongside the ocean, but it has all the other components of link-style golf. Off the tee, golfers are going to see average size rolling fairways with a fair amount of undulation. These fairways normally play firm and fast, but with wet conditions, we can see them slowed up a bit. I think if conditions are soft, it should favor longer hitters off the tee. Also, you might want to look at golfers who are good at over 200 plus in proximity, because you're going to have at least 3 par 3s in that range, 3 par 3s and 3 par 5s, all where you're going to be hitting 200 plus approaches. So that's a third of your approach shots every day minimum is going to be from over 200 plus yards. If golfers just missed a fairway in the rough, it shouldn't be too difficult to play out of, but link style, imagination, and use of the ground game will be needed for some approaches out of the rough. The farther a golfer misses the fairway by, the more penal the rough will be. Golfers will love the rough compared to the deep fairway pot bunkers. Get too close to the edge of those, and golfers have to pitch out sideways. Unlike true links courses, there are a few trees. This is actually a pine forest when they broke this down. So it's not your typical type of links golf, because there's going to be some trees. The course looks sort of more manufactured than it does, really looking like it used the surroundings to make the course. So, that's your classic link style look. It's not necessarily like that. Now, golfers been super wild off the tee. They could find some high fescue in some areas. On approaches, golfers are going to see large, massively undulating, slow greens. They're normally very firm, but again, we don't know how much the rain will affect the firmness of the greens and fairways. Hot bunker surroundings, upside down, bowl-shaped greens. There are large runoff areas, which will see a lot of play, especially if the wind picks up. These elevated greens will be difficult to get it up and down, and so short game prowess should be necessary to succeed. Now, it has been somewhat of a need here recently, but again, without the wind, if you're missing a lot of these greens, you're already in trouble. I think this year's a little bit different. I think you can put the short game, notch it down a little bit, unless we see some change in the weather where we're seeing more than 20-mile-per-hour gusts routinely as the week goes on. I'd expect the stim meter rating to be around 10, maybe even less or lower, maybe 10.5. If it's not going to be that windy, they might try and speed them up a little bit. Now, once again, tricky pot bunkers come into play around the greens. The weather holds, I'd expect a lot of par putts from like 5 feet. And again, this has been one of the most difficult putting courses on tour, but usually it's been because of the wind. Without the wind, let's see how it really plays. What are you looking for in golfers?
2022, 59% GR percentage. Last year, 65. And that took a massive hit on Sunday. So, let's call it 70, more than like 10% more GR. So I also notched my around the green stuff down a few percent in my model, highlighting these guys that are hitting the 175 and out numbers. I think that's going to be very important this week, Kenny. And then making sure you can make your putts, because I think you got to go low, yeah. And I think that's going to be important, which, again, this is all kind of pretending that the weather's going to stay the same than what we're seeing it is now. Watch the weather, pay attention to what's going on there. If it gets more windy, adjust accordingly. Around the green is going to be more important. Guys, bogey avoidance more important, that kind of stuff if the wind does pick up. But it's looking like it's going to play easy.
Yeah. Last year was pretty benign for the first 3 days. And, the guys who were in the lead, I think in like 9 of the 12 were inside the top 50 in driving distance. I think hitting the ball far is definitely going to help this week a lot, especially.
Also, Kenny, the guys that are hitting far hit their long irons the best, usually, for the most part. So, this course is a perfect matchup for that.
So I got a question for you as a guy who's played, top-level golf before. On greens this slow, does it help more putters? Because I'm going to say no. Me being a poor putter myself, I'd rather have the greens quick because I think it's easier to judge the speed. Now, what do you think? Because you've played college golf, you've played top level, golf, competitive golf. What do you think for poorer putters? Do you think the slower greens help or not help?
I'm going to answer it this way first and say that the slower greens help around the green play, because you can short side yourself to a degree and still stop the ball, right? Because it's slower. You're not going to get to the top of a shelf and roll down like we've seen on these, US Open venues. But if the wind's low, they might make it a bit speedy. I do think it's a personal thing, Kenny. I don't know if there's an absolute answer to this. Some people will probably like it. Guys with maybe like a longer stroke might enjoy the slower greens because their stroke's not really going to change. It's going to hit a bit harder. But guys with like a small pop, like a Snedeker or something like that, I'd imagine they probably fire up the best on like billiard tables kind of thing. So if I were to answer it, I'd say yes. I think, the best putters prefer the crisp, nice ass greens.
Yep. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to these tiers. We have this 10K range. We got Morikawa all the way up to Rory. How you going this week?
Colin Morikawa at 10-3, he's doing his thing. If there's not going to be that much wind, I don't mind him at 10-3 at all. Xander as well at 11-7. Kenny, this top of this range is going to be tough, man. We're going to have to really speak through this because I like all four of these guys, but my favorites right now is Xander and Colin.
I'm going Rory and Xander. I think Rory's going to want to. Look, Rory won here last year. He could pound the ball out there. He's going to have a decided advantage hitting driver 12 times around. He's going to have that advantage. He's going to want to come and shut people up, right? Yeah. Like after what happened at the U.S. Open, just coming in here and playing his good game. I do want to see his press conferences prior. If he looks fine, if he's happy, go lucky, and he's cheerful, and he's out there, I think that's. But if you see him sort of still in the doldrums, still talking about it, about what happened in a really negative light, and if he's snappy to certain questions and stuff like that, then maybe you think twice. But I haven't seen anything from Rory yet as of now. That's where I'm going to go. I think he's going to come back. The game is just so well suited for him. On this course, I think he can bounce back from what he did. It's been a month. I'm not really too worried about rust either. I don't think he's not playing golf out there, maybe for the first week or two, but I think he's probably gotten back. He's probably gotten some practice in. So give me Rory. And of course, Xander, like I said, second best player in the world behind Scheffler, former winner here. If you want to use him in cash, I don't hate that either. When it comes to cash, I don't really know too much about the DP guys. So it puts me a little bit more as a disadvantage, at least when you come out on the show like this early. As the week goes on, of course, I will do more research. So that's sort of why I didn't go with him in cash, because I knew I would have to drop down to the 6K range. Now I don't have go in the 6K range at all. I think my lowest price guy might be like 7,200. And of course, so that means I'm starting with the 9K range in my cash game cornerstones, and I'm going with Tommy Fleet. My train of thought last week, I went conservative cut makers with a couple of guys who I thought could, top 10. And basically then, I didn't think it was going to be Novak. I thought it was going to be Poston, but, it still worked out. And then you had, Hubbard, who just makes cuts, who went like 3 under in his last 3 holes to make the cut on the number again on Friday, which is pretty fucking crazy because the last week he hit like a 40-footer on 18 to make the cut. So the last couple of weeks have been like wild, and he still kept his cut streak up to 20 now. I think 21 maybe. So that's how I thought about it listening. But this week I'm going a little bit different. I want good form, has played well here in the past, and I think in top 10. And I want that for all 4 of my guys because the field's not bad. I think Fleetwood can top 10. He's had really strong performances here, and he's, made a shit ton of cuts and had a bunch of top 25s in the last 3 or 4 months. So give me a little bit of Tommy Fleetwood as my first cash game cornerstone. He's cheap enough where, you don't have to roster anybody under 7K this week in cash, and that's the way I'm going to go. My second cash game cornerstone, again, really tough time going between Tom and Min Woo. I know Byron's a big Tom fan. I'm going against the grain because I like Tom. I like Min Woo's driving distance a little bit more. I like the fact that he can bomb it out there. The thing about it is, like, there was like 3 golfers that were in the top 30 in driving accuracy last year. That was in that finished like top 15. It doesn't really matter how you hit it off the tee. If you can just hit it far, you're golden. And so I'm going to go with Min Woo again. Min Woo last year, different golfer. A lot more, he was sort of like Si Woo, where, boom or bust, right? become a lot more consistent, sort of like Seawood, out here, making a lot of cuts in a row, having a lot of, back-to-back top 30 type finishes. Of course, he's a former winner here. And so again, course form, good form, and top 10 upside. He has that. The Tom pick, the more I'm thinking about it, if he is going to be extremely popular, it could be a fade. It could be someone worth looking for a fade. He didn't look great at the Travels, but he played like 27 weeks in a row. Just as I've delved more into it, I'm looking for longer hitters off the tee and not like. And Tom's literally one of the shorter guys, like on tour. He's not even like mid range. He's like one of the shorter guys. At least Fleetwood's like middle of the road, right? Tommy is just short. Or Tom is just short. So that's how I'm thinking about this range. Now, it comes to GPPs.
So, Kenny, what are you thinking about the GPPs? We've got the cash gain, cornerstones, walls, roof, and front foyer for you. Like in our group text with producer Mike, you could not make up your mind about who you were picking. So what? Like, walk us through that little process there quickly. Like what?
So what I'm doing is, I'm gathering information and stuff like that, and it usually comes down to two guys in each price range. Is how it usually goes, and usually it's a lot easier for me to go ahead and pick who I want to pick. Now, the reason why it was so difficult is because when it comes down to it, and you look at it, I mean, Tom is top 10 in my model. Minwoo's barely top 25, right? So I'm going based against my model here, which doesn't really happen in this situation. So that's why I was going back and forth so much, because usually when it comes to these two guys, I'll go with the guy with the better numbers that I'm looking for. But I think hitting the ball far is going to be such a big advantage this week because of the lack of penalty when you hit it in the rough. That's why I went with Minwoo. I had Minwoo first, then I went Tom because he's been spectacular here the last couple of years, and then I went back to Minwoo, who's of course won this event, so he has done well here also. So that's the way I went about that, and then the other one was Xander. I wanted Xander, but I just, the more I dug deeper into that 6K range, I thought about Nakajima at 6,300 as a final cash game cornerstone. I thought about Lee Hodges at 6,100. If Lee Hodges was 6,000, I'd probably use Xander because from other golfers that are there, that gives me enough to go up to Xander and not Fleetwood. But I was 100 short. And there's no one at 6K that are under 6K that I really want to trust in cash. What do you think about GPPs here? What about Hovland, Decky, or Fitz? Any love?
I'm a big fan in Hovland, kind of maybe getting his stuff together at a birdie fest. If it starts playing easy, Hovland. If it's playing difficult, Decky.
Yeah.
So, right? Because Decky, you're not going to just see him make putt after putt after putt. Maybe for par, after he's chipped it to 7 feet or whatever. But Hovland, in my opinion, when he's dialed in, he can get it going. So I think he's got the ability to really go low, like we are expecting this kind of course to give up. But again, if the conditions switch themselves around a little bit, I like Decky as a tough course conditions guy. Tom Kim, obviously one of my favorite range. Like the course history is just exceptional and the form is exceptional. And he's $9,500. I'll take that. I think he's also never been too scared to show up in these big boy events. Like Minwoo, Kenny, he's a perfect cash game play. So like the big boy events, I know he's won here, but that was a European tour. Now we've got everyone. And if you think about the Rocket and the Cognizant, I mean,
do we really have everyone?
Well, let's just go. We got Rory, Xander, Ludwig, Collins,
the top four
there's
elite.
lots of good guys. Yeah,
top 6 maybe are elite, but after that, it's just like a normal field.
Well, who's missing? Scotty, Cantley. Cantley's not like okay, cool. But I feel like this field is at least a bit more star-studded than what Minwoo's shown
I
some
agree.
stuff.
I agree. But Minwoo's been more consistent, and I think he does
Yeah.
work for cash.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you're going with Tom up there, and I like your Hovland call. I think it is going to be a birdie fest. I don't think we have to worry about him too much around the greens, hopefully, as long as his irons are doing well. So I do like that play. Let's go to this 8K range. Why don't you go ahead?
Love Brian Harman again. I mean, this was the course I think that he tilted so hard because on one of the fairways, he drove it short of the fairway. The wind was blowing into them. I'm going to let you go, Kitty. I need a coffee.
All right. So, yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, again, I thought about Harman, and again, I'm just not the biggest fan. I want more distance this week. I want guys who can pound it out there. I'm not sure if I'm going to go with Mr. Harman, but looking at that, yeah, I think I like Sungjae a lot. It's not a major.
Yes.
Basically, if he's not in a major, he's getting a top 20 for you, is what it looks like to me. So I do like Sungjae. He's been playing good golf, lots of top 10 finishes, as long as it hasn't been in a major. If he finished top 5 last week, I think he needed 2 more strokes to finish top 5. I would have hit a huge underdog final round because I had Griffin. I had a Griffin, Sungjae, both finishing top 5.
And Sungjae was on his way, man. He was.
Well, he had 2 bogeys on 8 and 9 and fucked him. He didn't get those. He's in there, which sucks. Because there's no reason he should have had 2 bogeys in the round yesterday. There really shouldn't have been a reason for him to do that. But anyways, I digress. But Sungjae, my favorite GTP play is going to be Wyndham Clark. Again, I'm going to go ahead. I don't expect him to be wildly owned. I hope. We'll see. I'm not the ownership guru. But again, a guy who can hit it a mile and who can putt his ass off when it comes down to it. It seems
$8,100.
What? Yeah,
$8,100.
It seems like a pretty fucking good. I'm actually going to use probably Wyndham in my Slider Cup one and done. Probably going to be using him and maybe like Ryan Fox or McKinney or somebody who I'll never use or something like that because I'm running low on guys. But I like Clark. He's going to be my favorite, probably one of my favorite GPP plays in the board. Now, when it comes to cash, my third cash game cornerstone, Aaron Rye. Again, former winner. Upside is there. Recent form, been crushing. And then, top 10 upside, and then course form. He's won here before. So he knocks off those 3 for me. He's going to be my third cash game cornerstone. Let's go on with the rest of your 8K guys.
Yeah, sorry. Mrs. Maniac showed up and now I'm coughing, I'm sneezing. We've got pots and pans getting thrown around the kitchen, but it's all good. Speaking about pots and pans, I think Brian Harman threw them out the cot when he missed that fairway short. It was hilarious, Kenny. It's one of the funniest shot tracker things I've ever seen. Like, you could tell, like, he missed the fairway short and then went and shot 12 over par in the next, 5 holes. It was just a complete meltdown. So I'll be going back to him. He's the defending champion golfer of the year. So love that. And then Sahith Theegala at $8,200. I love him for GPPs. I love him as much as Wyndham Clark. I think these 2 guys have really good upside, and they're very affordable. I think at $8,200 and $8,100.
What about Spieth? We saw some life. Okay.
Where's the how full is this roller coaster, baby? We're going back to the roller coaster situation here, and people jumped on quickly after he went 7 birdies in 8 holes. And then the vodka started getting a little uncomfortable, and it just kind of flew down the tracks there, and it was just.
Did he even break par on Sunday? I don't think he did.
It was the most. I was like, because he was so close to Davis Thompson's group. I was going to the par 3, and I saw him coming down the par 4, and I'm like, this guy looks mopey as balls, dude. He looked like he'd just had no interest in being there, and it was just bad shot off the bat. Ugh, no bueno. But. That's the thing with Spieth. And with no wind, maybe, I don't know if this course is going to be challenging enough for him all 4 days. So, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. I do want to say that I'm looking for off the tee play, and he's long, and he's been driving the ball exceptional. But one thing I will add is 45% of the strokes gained by the top 10 came from approaches. Right? That's more than tour average. I think tour average 36%.
Yeah.
And I think it was 43% came from good iron play. So,
and Jordan's 79th in iron play.
Yeah,
in this field.
Not great. Yeah, not great. And that's based upon like half the field not even playing PGA Tour events.
Exactly.
So 79th is like near dead last in this field, basically, when it comes down to it. All right. 7K range, my final cash game cornerstone. You already spoke about him. It's going to be
Benny on.
Again, another guy who finished top 10 last year. Good form, good course history. And that's what you need. And he can hit the ball out there a mile. So my cash game cornerstones for this week, and I do like these a lot, which means I'm sure two of them is the cut, are going to be Fleetwood at $9,900, I think. Am I right? Yeah, Fleetwood 99, Min-Woo at 92, Rye at 83, Benny at 76. It leaves you like 14.5 around there, and with the 5,000 range, plenty to make the rest of your lineups. I'm sticking in that 7K range. I'm probably going Detry, and I'm probably going McKibbe down here because McKibbe is a guy down in this low $7,000 range. I'm not sure if many of you have heard of him, but just looking at his course history and his current form on the DP World Tour, the guy has been knocking out top 15 after top 15 out of the top 15. I think he makes really good cheap play down in cash. So he's not one of my cornerstones, but as of now, he's in my cash lineup. So I do like him in the 7K range. My gut play this week is a guy who's just been playing horrible, right? No one's going to own him. I'm going to go gut play Alex Noren this week. Success at Honda over and over again. Pretty decent in those type of events. Now I'm hoping, 15, 20 mile per hour winds. If it goes up more than that, it's probably better for Noren. But I just got a feeling he's going to get his game right, and he comes back this week at sub 5% ownership, and hopefully gets himself a top 30, a top 20 out there. It's just, again, pure gut, because the way he's playing in stats, they just don't line up. But he is my 7K gut play of the week. Maybe I'll start that since it worked so well last week with Mr. Novak. But it's going to be Noren for me this week. I'm going to play Homa and Homa course. Play Homa at Homa course. It has been playing well. Again, $7,700, couple of top 15s here in the last couple of years. Maybe he can get right on a course where he is comfortable at. And that's usually the times when you see Max Homa get right, is when he's playing courses that he's familiar with and he enjoys. And after the couple of years that we've seen him here, it looks like this is an enjoyable course for Mr. Homa at 7,700. Bobby Mack, that bitch-ass motherfucker, I'm going to play him as well. Another guy who could just pound it out there afar, make a shit ton of putts. And I wish I could backslap him in the face, but I'm going to roster him. I think he'll have a good week. Again, Detry, gaining a lot of steam, has played well again at this course in the past, can pound it out there, can putt when he wants to, can get hot with that putter. So give me a little Detry down here. Who are you playing in this 7K?
I was very close, Kenny, to putting Max Homa as the guy that I needed for the top 40 parlay because of his top 40 rate and how he's played at this golf course. But just looking at his recent form, it's like, buddy, it's like, I don't know what we're getting from you. I'd rather use you in like a high upside lit situation for like GPPs and hope for the best there. But he's been concerning, Kenny. Davis Thompson. If you think about a golf course that really suits Davis Thompson, driver, heavy, intensive venue, great long iron player, and he's putting well right now. He's won the John Deere Classic, I understand that, but top 10 at the US Open. Before that, second place finish at the Rocket, I think. This is a typical situation where guys will not be playing him because he just won. And now has to fly all the way across the pond, blah, blah, blah. Hey, if you're going to get me leverage ownership on a guy that's had not won, if he had not won, I would be really into him. Let's go, So it's all ownership dependent. If he gets quite popular, I'll leave him alone. But love Robert McIntyre as well with you, Benny on, same. And then Bezzy, I think $7,500. This guy's iron play is just doing wonderful things. And I'm a big fan of these guys that are doing like speed training stuff that take some time off, because then they have like 2 weeks to really just drill it through them. And then they show up, and then the next thing we've picked up 2 or 3 miles ball speed, like that kind of stuff. So he's been off for a while, and I think he's very driven to play well for the Olympics. So I think he's going to be looking to do some stuff there. And then another boy, Eric van Rooyen.
Yeah.
Wide fairways. If you take wide fairways and easy scoring conditions, this is your guy.
He also crushes par threes.
Yes.
For some reason, he's like a par three master.
Dude.
There's 5 of them here. I do like EVR. I probably like him more than Ryan Fox this weekend. I know both of them are picking up a little bit of steam.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it. But I do like EVR. Why don't you go on to the 6? Oh, go ahead.
Billy Horschel, as we get out of the 7s into the 6s, Billy Horschel overseas, he almost is more proud to play for the Europeans than he is for the Americans, right?
Yeah, it's weird, right?
It's like goofy. He plays some good golf. He's blue collar Billy. I don't know why it just works out better for him that way, but I like him at these kind of venues. And then in the 6s, yeah, Mathieu Pavon, this dude, he's high upside. If you're talking GPPs, that's exactly what you're kind of looking for. So he might ruin your lineup, but at the same time, he might be the guy that gives you a top 5 at $6,900. That's kind of what I'm looking at there. Will Zalatoris is always interesting. I think his ownership's going to be low, especially after the injury. If that's the case, I'm in. I love the long iron numbers here for him. I know the game's kind of gone south, but as a flash in the pan play, if he's returned back to his form, we're good to go there. And then we're going to just roll out a few more guys here. We're going to go with, I like both Højgaard brothers. They both do wonderful things. They're both the same price. So click away on either one of them as you see fit. And then Kevin Yu played really nicely at the John Deere Classic and has got tons of distance off the tee. So he's a really good iron player. The ball striking is hopefully going to take him to the promised land there. And then I think a little bit of Cameron Davis at the same time. I think he's playing some nice golf, and after missing the John Deere Classic after his win, I think he'll be right back in form. It's not like he just won last week. So those are some options. If it gets windy, Mackenzie Hughes is an option I'll probably lean on in the windier conditions.
I like Højgaard, Nikolai a lot. I like Pavon. I like your call, the upside on that. I mean, the guy, we've seen it from him multiple times this year. I do like that call. Kitayama, a guy who could pound it out there. Really solid tee to green. So I think, and then you got 2 guys in the mid-range who did well here last year. You got Ferguson and Jordan L. Smith at 67 and 66. I sort of would probably lean towards, I think both of them finished top 10 here last year. Jordan L. Smith is really good at par threes, really good with long irons. I think he could be one of my sneakier plays down here. I really like Jordan L. Smith in the 6K range, one of my favorite plays down here in this 6K range. Again, there's guys that you could definitely play, like Power, Eric Cole, Justin Rose. I like we talked about. I do like Andrew Novak down here again, coming out with playing with good form. I like Lee Hodges, a guy who's had a nice, decent run and has a top 15 here last year in his first appearance at this course. Only $6,100. I think he's definitely live down here. You want a Rory Xander lineup? Throw in Jordan L. Smith and throw in old boy right here at 6,100, Lee Hodges, or go down to the 5K range, throw your ass a little Sammy Valimaki down here at 5,800. Who's we've seen him on top of leaderboards here in the last month, and you're getting him former DP World Tour player. Should be used to these type of courses. Give me Valimaki at $5,800, no problem down here. Other guys in this 5K range was a little bit tougher. I mean, Nick Taylor can pop basically out of nowhere. He's a guy that I was looking at. Who do you like in this 5K range? Because I was having some issues.
I have Nick Taylor ranked 40th and 33rd for like safety and upside. He's 59th. He's 80th in DFS rank. That just seems like an absolute value to play there. What's Nick Taylor doing in the 5,900? He's won like twice in the last year. It's like, how's he $5,900? So I'll probably be leaning into him heavily. And then some Justin Lower is a very good long iron player with a good putter. If you're looking for 2 of the 3 things that you're really looking for there, absolutely. Matteo Manacero won a tournament on the Euro Tour at one point. Take a flyer at him, it's $5,700. I also like Chandler Phillips and Alex Fitzpatrick. Alex Fitzpatrick, the more fun, outgoing brother of Matt, and I think at $5,700, there's a good chance he lands up beating his brother this week. So give me him. And Sammy Valimaki looked real good in like a mustard shirt, like a big boy wearing a mustard shirt. around the John Deere Classic, that'll catch your attention because you're not quite sure who that person is. And then Jorge Campillo. I mean, this guy's been a constant person on the Euro Tour, and he started coming over to the PGA now and doing some good things there. So $5,500, you're not going to get the world from him, but he's $5,500 for GPPs.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Anybody else you need to talk about?
I mean, we could go forever, Kenny. Especially when I'm speaking about like Stuart Sink. In this, he's the champion golfer from 10 years ago. You never know what he could get up to over here. So.
All right. Well, you can find me on X at KendoVT. You can find my article every week on gupscorner.com. Use promo code Kenny. Save yourself 30% on a sub to Gups Corner. Also, remember, please use promo code, go to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Mayo. Get yourself a deposit bonus up to $250. Also, don't forget to go into our YouTube page, pick your winner, leave your DK handle, and you might get a chance to be in our Tournament of Champions.
Yes. And full disclosure, no, I'm not even going to say the full disclosure thing. You can find me on X at the Model Maniac. You can find me on Back Nine Bets, which is on Mayo Media for tomorrow's show at 7 Eastern. I've been doing that for the last few times, and I'll be going through all my bets on that show there. And then, rotoballer.com is pretty much where all my articles and a written version of what you'll see on the shows up there. And that's all on X as well. So easy places to find me, looking to kind of go back to back and just keep riding this wave of sexiness. So I'm down.
All right, that sounds good. We are across the pond. We're getting close to our final major of the year. It's going to be a good last 6 weeks of the PGA Tour season. Let's win some motherfucking money. DJ Nation.
I've been getting dirty money,